everybody, welcome back. So Unique Caches has tagged me to answer the 5 questions. So I'm gonna do that. So question number 1 is, where did your name come from? How did you get it? So that one's fairly simple. I made it up. You know when you sign up for a website, how all the good usernames are taken? And no matter what variation on your name, first or last, or your birthday, including like names, your numbers, all the little symbols and whatnot, it's always taken. And so you end up signing up for like a bunch of different websites, and every single one has a different username, and you almost need an encyclopedia just to figure out what username goes with what site. So what I did, and a couple of my friends did this too back in high school, is we sat down at a keyboard and we kind of just threw some letters together or some sounds together, and we made up our own words. So I sat down and I went Hakleva, and I typed that in, and then I started saying it, Hakleva, Hakleva, Hakleva. Yeah, okay, I could use that. And that's how my name started. And so just about everything that you Google about Hakleva comes back to me. Now, in recent years, it has been coming back as something else in some other foreign language, but I have no idea what that means. So if anybody can tell me what the heck it means, that'd be awesome. I'd love to know how my literally pulled out of my butt name ended up being a word when I Googled it originally and it meant absolutely nothing. Nothing came back for it. So if anybody knows what Hakleva actually means, let me know.
Question number 2. How did you find out about geocaching? Well, I was sitting around the table playing cards with a couple of friends, and one of them had a bunch of stuff in his pocket, and I was becoming uncomfortable, so he took it out. And it turned out to be a whole bunch of geocoins and trackables. So we asked him, like, what is that? And so he explained us the whole idea of trackables, and then explained the whole game to us. And it sounded kind of interesting, and so we went out and we tried to find a couple caches, and he ended up showing us one that was like a humongous pail in a tree, and so we had to do cheerleader type moves in order to get it down. And so that was a lot of fun. And so the next day we borrowed my brother-in-law's GPS that he uses for hunting, and I manually entered all of the coordinates for the caches around my cabin. And so when we headed up there, we ended up finding them all, and that was a lot of fun. And it even showed us some stuff that I didn't even know existed. So that's how we heard about geocaching.
So question number 2, who's your favorite cacher? Well, I thought about this for a minute because I don't know very many cachers, but then, watching videos and whatnot, you learn things about people, and then you kind of know them, but then you don't. So, who's my favorite cacher? Well, it's funny that Mike and Eileen of Unique Caches had tagged me to do this video, because you guys are actually my favorite cachers. You find awesome caches, you make videos about them to share with everybody, and you make ridiculously awesome caches that I can only dream about finding. So, you guys, you're my favorite cachers. So question number 4. My favorite cache has to be a couple of years ago, I was out around my lake, and I was trying to finish my calendar cache. And so it was the middle of the summer, and we had to go into town for something. And so we ended up finding just the nearest unfound cache, which I didn't know at the time was actually in an old abandoned quarry. And so I didn't even know the quarry existed. Like, we have a quarry right by our cabin. But yeah, so I didn't know this other quarry existed, and we drove up to it and we're like, okay.
and there's a huge ridge, and there was water in the quarry, and it was pointing straight ahead. And we're like, well, how the heck do you get to where the cache is? So we got out and we ended up hiking around the entire ridge and wading through the water and climbing up some rock faces. And finally we got to this beautiful overlook, and that's where the cache was. And I think it's called Inukshuk Show the Way. And there was some Inukshuks, and there were some rock benches and all that, and it was super cool and super memorable. And then when we left, my husband told me that a couple years before, there was a body found wrapped in a carpet there. So an already memorable cache became even more memorable.
So question number 5. Who are you going to tag to answer these 5 questions? Well, I had 2 people in mind, however one of them has been tagged since I was tagged. So looks like Dave Casher, tag, you're it.